Hello and very warm welcome to Dr. Zia Ahmed YouTube channel. Today we are going to discuss chapter 1 of the novel The Croaters by Sidhwa. This novel is quite tricky and interesting because of two basic reasons. Number one, it's written by a female writer, and secondly, it's written by a minority woman. And as a result, it becomes even more interesting. And we know very well that a lot of discussion will take place as a result of Sidhwa's, the writers being Parsi. A lot of discussion will take place on the Parsi culture, Parsi way of tradition, Parsi presence, and Parsi as minority inside Pakistan. And similarly, there will be a number of other habits of the Pakistani people as well that could be possibly indirectly reflected from the characters or the situations portrayed by Bapsi Sidhwanet. So let's enter into chapter 1 as it's a critical analysis. So text will also be read out, and alongside that, some of the critical comments will be passed out for the benefit of the students so that they can, when conducting research about such text, they may be able to use that. So the very first passage that I want to read from chapter 1 is here. It says, Fredoon Jangalwala, Freddy for short, was a strikingly handsome, dulcet-voiced adventurer with so few scruples that he not only succeeded in carving out a comfortable niche in the world for himself, but he also earned the respect and gratitude of his entire community. When he died at 65, a majestic grey-haired patriarch, he attained the rare distinction of being locally listed in the Zarathustri calendar of great men and women. Fredoon Jangalwala's name is invoked all the major ceremonies performed in Punjab and Sindh, an ever-present testimony to the success of his charming rascality. So this is the first ever passage of the first chapter, and there are three, four important things in that. That the story begins and ends with Fredoon Jangalwala. All of his life has been talked about from the very place when he was a young man, a married young man, having a wife, and ultimately became a greybeard or a majestic greybeard person. So in that way, the whole life of Fredoon Jangalwala has been portrayed. And the mention of Zarathustri calendar and his inclusion in different ceremonies with respect to that tells us that he had earned a lot of respect and honor for him. So this is the honorable man about whom the story is going to be. But how did he earn his honor? What kind of struggles and hardships he had to face? All these things are to be considered in this story. And besides that, if you look at the paragraph that I have read for you, it shows that he was a beautiful person. He's got a very good voice, but then as a businessman, didn't have many scruples. But still he was counted as a very important person of his community. So the novel is about Fredoon Jangalwala, who's a Parsi, as a businessman, as a successful person, as an honorable person. All these things we shall be discussing as the first paragraph, as the opening paragraph of this chapter goes to suggest to us. So let's proceed further and see what other paragraphs have for us. For example, here is a long paragraph that I selected for you, where Fredoon tells to his people, the children, the young and the old, the sweetest thing in the world is your need. You think on it, your own need, the mainspring of your wants, well-being, and the contentment. As he continued, the words need and wants edged over their common boundaries and spread to encompass vast new horizons, flooding their minds with his vision. Need makes a flatter a bully and persuades a cruel man to kindness. Call it circumstances, call it self interest, call it what you will. It still remains your need. All the good in this world comes from serving our own ends. What makes you tolerate someone you'd rather spit in the eyes? What subdues that great big I, that monstrous ego in the person? Need, I tell you, will force you to love your enemy as a brother. So this is the paragraph which talks about the importance of need in our lives, and Fredoon goes to tell this secret to his people at home. He says that need is something very important, and it's because of the need we work hard, because of the need we struggle. But then there is something very important, as it is said in Pakistani society also, that at the time of need some people are so clever and wise that they will call a donkey their father. That actually donkey and father doesn't count. The count is that need is so important that in order to fill that need, you have to do a number of things. Fredoon, for example, gives the example that you have to subdue your ego for the sake of your need. You need to fulfill your need, and that is why you call somebody whom you don't like at all. Even that person is called by you as a friend. So need is the basic force. It's a force which regulates, which makes the things move. It's the mover and shaker of human life, as told by Fredoon. Probably the writer wants to give before us that our needs are there which make us think in different ways, which make us struggle and go ahead in different ways. If these needs are not there, possibly we won't do these such things. For example, sometime we have to do something bad, and that is the need which makes us do so. Otherwise, possibly we may not do so. That is why very important philosophy has been preached by the writer. How do the Parsi people believed in the concept of need, and how they would like to tell to their children as well that need is very important in our life. It makes us move, it shakes us, takes us ahead. All these things are related to the need, so need is going to be the most important thing. And in the same way, we also need to talk about this passage here. One day Alan confessed he couldn't get his pickup on account of this bloody heat. He said he was an obliging bastard, so I helped him. First, I packed his wife off to his hills to relieve her of her pricky heat. Then I rallied around with bunch of buxom dancing girls and dimpled scotch. In the no time at all, he was cured of his distressing symptoms. Oh yes, there is no end to the good one can do. This is very smart paragraph, but it goes to link the whole text with the post-colonial and colonial environment of Pakistan and India. Freddie is telling that he had a good relationship with one English couple, and Alan was the name of that couple. His wife was very sick because of the prickly heats, and she needed some type of treatment. And he sent her, first of all, towards the hilly station so that she could be cured. And as a result, the husband Alan was alone. And behind, in the absence of that woman, the wife of Alan, this Fredoon arranged dancing girls and drinking wine, and as a result, they enjoyed very much. He says that Alan's disease and depression was also gone. So he says that for the sake of fulfilling of his need, he did this. But that goes to link us with the British government, with the British rule, with the colonial system that existed here, and what type of ills existed there, what type of problems existed there, and how the clever people manipulated those problems for the sake of their benefit. Fredoon is one of them. So that is why Fredoon's wisdom, Fredoon's business wisdom, worldly wisdom, Sajid wisdom is coming before us, that even he could tell these English people, he could manage and manipulate them for the sake of his own benefit. So this is the triumph of the protagonist of this story, that he was so successful in making his deals with the people who are the powerful people. And that also goes to suggest one thing more, that Parsi people were quite close to the English people at that time. The Hindus were not that close, Muslims were not that close, Sikhs were not that close. These were the Parsi people who were so close to the English people. So a touch of the post-coloniality is also present here. Let's proceed more and see what other this chapter has for us. There are hardly 120,000 Parsis in the world, and still we maintain our identity rooted out of Persia at the time of the Arab invasion. 1300 years ago, a handful of our ancestors fled to India with their sacred fires. Here they were granted sanctuary by the prince Yade Rana on the condition that they did not eat beef, wear rawhide sandals, or convert the susceptible masses. Our ancestors weren't too proud to bow to his will. To this day, we do not allow conversion to our faith or mixed marriages. So, as I told in the beginning, that this text is written by Sidhwa, Sidhwa is a Parsi, and so therefore the history of the Parsi people has been talked about in this passage. That where from did they come? Definitely from Persia. When they were displaced and they were rooted out, they came to India and they had to accept some of the conditions. But one of the things is that maintenance of their culture. This novel, this story is also one of the attempts to maintain their culture that the writer is also using in order to preserve and secure the culture, whatever they possess. So that is why this novel would be definitely rich with the Parsi culture, Parsi traditions, and Parsi history as well. So that is the historical context of this novel as well, this story as well. Let's proceed still further and find this paragraph. Smart one. Fredoon Jungle Wala Freddy for short embarked on his travels towards the end of 19th century. 23 years old, strong and pioneering, he saw no future for himself in his ancestral village tucked away in the forest of central India, and resolved to seek his fortune in hallowed pastures of Punjab. So that is the reason, rationale being told to us, that Freddie was living in a village, and there he didn't find that he can progress, so he had the equal rights to progress in the world. So that is why he thought of migration from that village towards the place which is in Lahore in Punjab. So after crossing many cities, he ultimately reaches Lahore. So as businessman person, he definitely needed to be in touch with some business community where he can flourish. So in order to let us know why Fredoon is going to Lahore, why he is traveling towards Lahore, that reason is being told to us very briefly. So migration element is also included in that, because of which definitely the change is going to come in his life. In the next passage, Freddie's wife Putli, taking steps to ensure a daily supply of fresh eggs, had hoisted a chicken coop onto the cart at the very last moment. The bamboo coop contained 3 plump, low-bellied hens and a virile cock. Freddie's objection to this presence had been overruled. Freddie gently governed and completed control of his life with the aid of 3 maxims. If she did or wanted to do something that he considered tolerable and disastrous, he would take a stern and unshakable stand. Putli soon learned to recognize and respected his decision on such occasions. If she did or planned something he considered stupid and wasteful, but not really harmful, he would voice his objections and immediately humor her with his benevolent sanction. In all other matters, she had a free hand. So this is the very small paragraph which actually is about the condition, the household condition, in which Putli is going to play a major role, and she's the wife of this man. But then the power and authority has been divided. Man is of course powerful, shown in this text, and but Putli is also shown equally, powerful. She had the skill to get the things managed and get him come around and accept what he wanted to say. So one of the good things done by Putli is to keep the hens and the cock on the traveling cart, so that they may be able to have the supply of the fresh eggs for the sake of themselves and for the children. That goes to show the wisdom of Putli as well. So Putli, although the name goes to suggest that she is somebody who has to obey, but actually her sagacity, her wisdom, her cleverness, her skills to manage the house even when they are traveling, that has been shown here. So character has been portrayed, Putli's character has been portrayed in a positive light. The same is the case with the Fredoon's character. So that is the art of characterization of Sidhwa that we are coming across here. We need to go through the chapter to find out more passages, to read whatever the important passages are here. For example, here's a very long paragraph that I'm not going to read for you because it will take a long time. It's about Gerbano, as we have been discussing here and there. One of the incident which is related to the other that has been talked about here is the buffalo incident. And when Gerbano is inside the field, the buffalo ran behind her. Although buffaloes are mostly gentle people, but still, because of the screams of Gerbano, it started to come behind and proceeds further. This Fredoon proceeds further to save her, and ultimately, very gallantly, he saves her. But then, because of this safety, the sacrifice is to be done, and that is the cock which is to be sacrificed. And Gerbano's perturbed condition has also been indicated in this paragraph also, where jackals are howling and Gerbano is howling also in reply. In that way, up to some extent, the madness or the kind of disturbed situation of Gerbano has been indicated here, that when the jackals would howl at night, because they were staying at a place where the wheel of the cart was damaged. So in that way, she also showed what she is, and in that way her restlessness was shown also. So she howled in the reply of jackal's howling. So this buffalo incident, this jackal incident, this cock incident, all combined together to create a type of humor at the cost of that old woman that we face in this chapter. So third character, the most important character which is coming before us, is that of Gerbano, and the source of laughter, source of humor, and source of anxiety as well. For Fredoon, she's the biggest possible challenge. So throughout the book we shall be finding this type of thing. And proceeding further, therefore, when Fredoon Jangalwala reaches Lahore, as the paragraph goes to tell us that he falls in love with Lahore. He feels very good about that Lahore because he feels that he will be successful there. So he stopped here and there, and he was able to see Hindu temples also, Muslim mosques also, and he was able to see the hall where the British people were present, their things were present. In that way, he loved Lahore very much. So this paragraph actually talks about something which is very significant, and we must talk before we go further. This paragraph is talking about the combination of the cultures, that is Sikh culture, Hindu culture, Muslim culture, and the Parsi culture is also going to be added there. So perhaps the purpose of Sidhwa is to let us know that before partition, this was the place, Lahore was the place which was a sanctuary for every type of culture, and the people used to live there. Just like a bouquet of flowers, and different type of flowers are present in a bouquet, in the same way these people were present. So Lahore was not the city of just Muslims, it was the city of everyone. That Sidhwa is going to point out her, and Freddie possibly loved this city very much. So let's see and proceed further to see more details which he has provided in order to prove her point that everything was good before partition, and partition has done something which has created the problems, most of the problems. For example, here we have something in this paragraph talked about the beggars. That's not so significant for us. We need to go down. It says, the very next evening, rigged into the starched white coat wrap that fastened with bows at the neck and waist, and crisp white pyjamas and turban, he drove his car to Government House. Parking a splendid bullock next to restive Tonga horses, Freddie strode confidently up to the resplendent guards at the huge iron gates. The guards allowed him in almost at once, and Freddie signed his name in the visitors' register. Having thus paid homage to the British Empire, established his credentials, and demonstrated his loyalty to the Queen and the Crown, Freddie was free to face the future. And again, therefore, this is the paragraph where we come across one of the more links with the post-colonialism or colonialism. Definitely, Fredoon is to register himself, so that is why he goes to the Hall of the British people, and there he signs the book in the register, and that way becomes a person who can live in Lahore legitimately and can have the place there. So he was well dressed. The kind of dress has been indicated that he was wearing a white dress. He had different bandages on him and wearing churidar pajama as well. So the greatness or the we can say a type of muazzisness, honorableness of Fredoon has also been highlighted, and the touch of the post-coloniality or that of colonialism and the reference to British Empire and their ways and means and how much the link was closer to these people, that has also been indicated in this passage or through this passage. Let's proceed further to finish this chapter. We can say the chapter has ended here. Next time, chapter 2 may be talked about. But this is the most important chapter because it sets the tale of the story. Nothing important has been told to us which possibly may come in the later part of the text. However, we can conclude by saying that this chapter goes to show that the chapter 1 is about Putli, it is about Fredoon, it is about Gerbano, and we come to know that Fredoon is an ambitious person and he wants to make a place in his life. Putli is a person who would be definitely a very obedient wife, very much dexterous, expert, and skilled wife that he can maintain the house. On the other hand, we have Gerbano. That Gerbano is the person who is a mother-in-law, so therefore she is the source of not only trouble but also she is the source of humor also that the writer has possibly intended while doing so. And in the same way, we should also know that migration element is taking place. Alongside that, some of the British presence has also been shown. All these things are really very well talked in the very first chapter, and it goes to set the tone of the chapter as well. So here the chapter 1 ends. Next time we will be meeting again in some other chapter, maybe of this book or some other video. So hopefully the students have liked it and enjoyed it, and therefore I'm expecting that they will be hitting the like button as well as the subscribe button, and their comments will also be positively replied if there is a chance to do so. So thank you for watching. Hope to see you in some next video. Till that time, keep happy, keep loving, and keep peaceful also.